The damage, it seems, is not too extensive, my lord. But I'm afraid...
No buts, Bunter. Thank Providence we're in one piece and so close to civilization.
As you say, my lord.
Nice and brisk then, me old sergeant. Left, 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 right, left.
Sitting up, is he, Mrs. Tebbit?
I'm taking notice, thank the Lord. The vicar's with him now. But he's been ever so bad.
As you say, Lady Thorpe's terrible bad. Dr. Bain's been up twice today, I hear.
Spanish influenza. They can call it what they like. You want my opinion, Ezra? That's a visitation for our sinful ways.
Oh, wouldn't go so far. Your Jack's no great sinner, and Lady Thorpe's a kind of soul alive.
He's doing splendidly, Mrs. Tebbit. He'll be up and about in no time. Ah, good evening, Ezra.
Yeah.
I'm only sorry that he won't be fit to ring for us tonight.
Oh. What ho? Seasonable for the time of the year, what?
It's no weather to be walking abroad.
No, not intentional, I assure you. Good evening. Could we have 2 large whiskies, if you please, with hot water? What about you, Vicar?
That's extremely kind of you, sir, but...
To keep out the cold.
Well, put like that, perhaps a small cherry brandy.
Splendid. The old car decided to run off the road about half a mile back. Oh, forgive me, my name is Wimsey, by the way, Peter Wimsey.
Venables, Theodore Venables. I'm the incumbent here.
And this is my man, Bunter.
Oh, how do you do, Mr. Bunter?
How do you do, sir?
And this is Ezra Wilderspin, our blacksmith. A most valued and respected member of the community.
Mr. Wilderspin? What'll you have?
Have a pint of bitter, is all the same to you, sir.
And a cherry brandy, if you please, and a pint of bitter. Well, I feel rather like Ulysses come to port after much storm and peril.
Did you hear, Mrs. Tebbit? The gentleman's car ran off the road.
This weather, I'm not surprised.
Struck nose down in a snowdrift. In fact, I was wondering, Mrs.
Tebbit.
Mrs. Tebbit, if you could possibly put us up for the night.
Oh, I'm that sorry, sir, but my husband's ill. I'm not taking guests anyway. I don't rightly think I could manage.
No, 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 of course not. Well, I'm sorry to hear about your husband. Nothing serious, I hope.
Spanish influenza.
Oh, dear, oh, dear, oh, dear, oh, dear. A lot of it about. Yes, a perfect curse.
But he's over the worst. He's making excellent progress.
I'm delighted to hear it. Will you take something yourself, Mrs. Tebbit?
No, thank you very much.
Well, may I wish you all a very happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. That'll be 3 and 11pence.
Yes, of course. Yes, there we are. That'll be all right. I say, what a splendid fire. Excuse me. Well, that still leaves us in a bit of a hole, Bunter, what?
It does indeed, my lord.
My Lord Peter Wimsey. I knew the name. Mrs. Tebbit, we are entertaining a celebrity.
Is that so, Vicar?
It is indeed. Lord Peter has written a most scholarly monograph. Notes on the collection of incunabula.
Well, now, don't tell me you've actually read it.
Indeed, indeed.
Well, I'll be dashed.
I'm a book collector myself. I fear that my library is rather limited, but I have an edition of the Gospel of Nicodemus, which I think would interest you. Dear me, how delightful meeting like this. We shall be able to exchange impressions.
Well, much as I would like to, Vicar, I'm very much afraid.
Ah, but you're both staying at the rectory. Oh, there's no doubt about it. There's nowhere else. And please, believe me, I was going to invite you before.
Then we accept most gratefully, don't we, Bunter?
Very much so, my lord.
And don't worry about your car, my lordship. We'll get Mr. Ashton's horses pull it out for you in the morning.
Ezra is quite the motor mechanic, too.
Oh, I say, well, that's very civil of you.
I don't imagine, Lord Peter, that you've ever been to Fenchurch St. Paul before.
Yes, once. Oh, about 20 years ago now. I came here to a wedding just before the war.
Then you remember my church.
Oh, very clearly. One of the finest in the Fen country. All transitional, I think.
Except one of the windows at the end of the north aisle. That's late perpendicular. And, though I say it myself, we have a really noble ring of bells. Few finer in the whole county.
Are you planning to ring in the new year?
Not merely that, but we are aiming for a record. No less than 15,840 Kent treble bob majors.
Bless my soul.
Oh, I say, that'll take a bit of time.
9 hours. And what is more, but for the little help that I can give, we shall be obliged to ring the whole peal with only 8 ringers. It's this terrible influenza. 4 of our best men are laid low.
Here's the bus from Leamholt.
It seems to me you're going to have your work cut out.
Oh, it will be exhausting. But what a triumph if we succeed. There are tablets in the belfry commemorating all the famous peals of former times, but it's many years since we added a new one.
Well? What is it, Well?
What is it, he asked? A Spanish influenza, that's what. Same as my poor Jack. Come you on, Will. Get this inside you.
No, I've been feeling a bit queer all day, but on the bus just now coming back from Leamholt, I come over something terrible.
So much for vaulting ambition.
One of your 8 ringers?
Yes. But we mustn't think about that. We must get poor Will home to bed. That's what we must do.
Can I be of some assistance, Vicar?
That's very good of you, Mr. Bunter. My car is outside. If we could just get him into it.
Come on, old lad. We'll give you a hand.
We can go on to the rectory after we've got poor Will home.
Splendid.
We'll get him straight home to Mary, Mrs. Devitt.
Over there, in my bunk.
You sure, Jim?
It's the only warm room in the
Oh,
place.
they're damp, these cottages, ever so damp.
Right. Down you go, Will lad.
Right, Joe, you've obviously had experience heaving weights about, what?
I sees a hard master, but a thorough one.
Ah, yes, I should have known. Royal Navy, are you, Mr.?
Nothing so grand.
Forgive me. Jim 30, Will's brother. Jim is a merchant seaman.
Join us for a Christmas leave, Mr.
Wimsey.
Lord Peter Wimsey. And this is Mr. Bunter.
No, you Mr. Bunter.
They've been very helpful.
Very grateful.
I really don't know what I
Lord
should
Peter
call you.
Wimsey.
That's right. Mrs. Thurder, is it?
I might forget a face, but I never yet forgot a name.
I'm sorry, with me it's usually the other way around, but this time I'm afraid you'll have to forgive me, Mrs. Thurder.
Oh, your lordship wouldn't remember me. I was parlour-maid up the manor when that lady's emeralds were taken. Time Sir Henry got married.
Right, Joe, that's quite a time ago.
You were the gentleman had the fast motor, drove after Cranton.
Perfectly correct. You didn't catch him, though.
That was quite enough, my lord. That brought Cranton to prison. And Jeff Deacon.
I managed to get the number of Crampton's car.
That's what I mean.
Astonishing coincidence. I had no idea. Jim, I think you'd better call Dr. Baines.
Oh, I will, Mr. Venables, don't you worry. I shall go straight down the post office and knock up Miss Higgs.
I'm sure that's the sensible thing.
Are you staying long, my lord?
No, just for the night. Bunter and I are stranded wayfarers. The vicar's very kind to putting us up.
Now, take good care of him, Mary, my dear. It's the nursing that counts with this wretched influenza. Good night, Jim.
Thank you, Vicar.
And be sure to let me know if there's anything I can do.
Bye, gentlemen.
If you're going to the post office, Jim, you'd best go. Well, he'd a look now. Sooner the doctor get here, the better.
Mary? Is everything all right? Between you and Will, I mean.
All right? What do you mean, all right? Why shouldn't it be all right?
In all these years. It's the first time I heard you mention your husband's name.
Will's my husband.
Will's your second husband. Jeff Deacon were first.
Jeff Deacon's dead. That was a shock, like. Seeing Lord Peter again. That brought it all back. Wretched old business.
Mary,
There's only one man in this world that I care about. And he's too ill for you to be stood there gabbing. Now, will you go and get the doctor?
I remember Deacon breaking out of Maidstone and killing that warder. It was in all the papers when I was in hospital. There was quite a manhunt on at the time. Looked as though he got clean away. And I believe a body was found.
2 years later, in Kent, some schoolboys exploring a dene hole. They found a skeleton still wearing remnants of convict clothing. The police were quite satisfied it was Deacon.
And of course that meant Mary was free to marry Will Thody.
It was 1920. It was the year we moved here.
The very first ceremony that Theodore ever performed in Fenchurch, St. Paul. I think it can't have been at all easy for the poor girl, what with the theft and then Deacon being sent to prison.
Not much fun, I don't suppose, at a small village being married to a convicted criminal.
Naturally, what we know is mostly at second hand. There was a lot of gossip. I believe it was even hinted that Mary had helped her husband in the theft.
Oh, complete nonsense, of course. She's a most respectable girl.
Her only mistake was falling in love with him in the first place.
Deacon was a very personable young man. I remember that quite clearly.
And pulled a very good rope, what's more.
Pardon?
Yes, I remember Hezekiah Lavender used to say that he, Deacon, was the quickest chap at learning the Kent treble bob he'd ever had to do with.
Oh, I see. You could do with him tonight then, Padre, what?
Oh, indeed, indeed. Well, you'll have to excuse me, Lord Peter. I must go and break the news to the lads. They'll be bitterly disappointed. I am myself. It means we shall be reduced to ringing minors.
Look, I've been thinking about this, Padre.
Forgive me, about what?
About tonight's peal. I used to pull quite a pretty rope myself.
You did, Lord Peter?
Well, not wishing to boast and all that, don't you know?
Not treble bob.
Treble bob. Mind you, it's a long time since I've...
It will come back to. It will come back to half an hour with the handbells.
Oh, no, Theodore, really. Lord Peter's had a tiring night.
No, look here, look. It was my suggestion. If I can get a couple of hours' sleep before midnight, I'll pull bells like Billy.
Oh, but you shall. How splendid. I must tell Hezekiah at once. He can call the lads together for a practice ring on the handbells. You know, I cannot get over the amazing coincidence of your arrival here. It's as though heaven itself had intervened on our behalf.
I can't tell you how grateful I am. You can't guess what it means to him.
Well, I just hope I can get through without making a hash of things, that's all.
Oh, I'm sure you'll manage very well.
Tell me, Mrs. Venables, how are the Thorpes? Are they still living here?
Oh, yes, but I'm afraid things aren't at all easy for them. All that money gone, and then Sir Henry getting so badly wounded during the fighting in the salient. He still has to use a wheelchair, you know.
Oh, I say, I am sorry. I had no idea it was as bad as that.
And now Lady Thorpe's very unwell.
What, flu?
Yes, such a pretty woman. Though not, I think, particularly strong. Must be a very anxious time for them.
You really must stop worrying, Sir Henry. Lady Thorpe is going to be as right as rain in no time.
Yes. Get me another whiskey, Mrs. Gates.
Do you think you really ought to?
Yes, I do. A large one. Is it not too much soda?
I'm not at all sure that Dr. Baines would approve.
Well, ask him if you want to. Here he is.
You know I was only teasing.
Mrs. Gates, I want you to go and sit with Lady Thorpe.
Yes, of course, Doctor.
Can I stand that woman?
No, neither can I. However, things being what they are, we learn to be grateful, my dear Alec, even for the Mrs. Gates of life.
Can it be very easy for you just the same?
Oh, nor for Mrs. Gates. Let's not forget that. I mean to say, you remember the staff this house carried in the old days? My good heavens, for the under gardeners, it was up to 14 at one time. Now she manages almost alone. Any wonder the garden's a wilderness?
Well, you'd best get young Hilary a pair of secretaires for Christmas.
Yeah, poor darling.
What, she ailing?
No.
Now.
Yes, I know.
I brought the child into the world, don't forget. There's spirit there.
The fact remains she is an only child, Alec. We are all she's got.
And resilience she's got.
Well, I can't help wishing I had more to leave her.
Bosh, man. Your father left you precious little.
My father had nothing to leave after what happened at my wedding.
Aye. One forgets with the years.
£60,000, that cost him. Now, that was the value of the emeralds that were stolen, and he insisted on paying Lady Wilbraham every penny. But you know the story by heart.
And I still say that was carrying chivalry too far.
Chivalry, Alec. Honesty, if you must. Dignity, I think, is nearer the mark.
A noble sentiment, Henry. Neatly phrased. But to find it how you will, I still maintain some of the blame should have been laid at her door. I mean, to hide a valuable necklace like that under the bed in a...
Yes. Well, in any case, it's... What about Isabel?
I've known you too long to beat about the bush. She's bad. Damn bad. There's pneumonia now, and it... Ellery there. Hello.
Dr. Baines? I heard you leave Mummy's room. How is she?
Not very well, I'm afraid. I don't miss moving her to hospital. I'll ring Leamholt. Ask him to send round a nurse.
You don't think she has much chance?
She has a chance.
That was Miss Higgs from the post office. Will Foday's got it now.
I'll look in there on my way back.
Poor old darling. What a rotten new year.
I said I remembered. It's not true. I'd forgotten how beautiful it was. He rode upon the cherubims and did fly. He came flying upon the wings of the wind.
I'm sorry.
Who is this here bloke, Hezekiah?
Oh, I don't know nothing of him. Here come the Reverend now.
Ah, here you all are. Splendid. Now, this is Lord Peter Wimsey, sent to us by Providence, as you might say. Now, let me introduce you all. Hezekiah Lavender. He has pulled Tailor Paul for 60 years.
Hello.
Ezra
Glad to meet you,
Wilderspin. Of course, Ezra Wilderspin, you know.
Yes, you do.
Our biggest man pulls the smallest bell, but that's often the way of things, isn't it? Jack Godfrey.
Hello.
Jack has the honor of ringing our oldest bell, Batty Thomas, cast in 1338, no less. Mr. Donington.
Mr. Donington?
He takes charge of number 6. Joe Hinkin, my gardener, number 5.
How do you do?
Harry, go to bed, number 4. Sexton, incidentally. Rather a good name for a sexton, yes. And Walter Pratt, our youngest recruit.
Hello, Wally.
He takes number 3. Well, that's all of us, I think. You, Lord Peter, will take number 2, poor Will Foday's bell.
Righty, huh?
Now, lads, the object of this practice is to let Lord Peter have a chance of getting his hand in again. 30 minutes, I think, should be quite sufficient. So, Hezekiah?
Right, boys. Now, if you be ready, we'll ring a little touch of 96 just to put this gentleman in the way of it. And remember, my lord, you start by making the first snap and lead with the treble, then you go into the slow hunt till she comes down to snap with you again.
And after that, I make the thirds and fourths.
That's right, my lord. And then it's 3 steps forward, 1 step back, till you lay the blows behind.
Right. Well, carry on, Sergeant Major.
Ready, boys? Go.
Trouble's gone, trouble's gone.
Church, I must go down to the church.
Take it easy, Will.
The vicar's...
You're not doing any ringing tonight.
I must get down to the church.
Shush.
On and on about the blessed ringing. Reckon he's let a vicar down or something.
That's fair preying on his mind, Doctor.
Mr. Venables is a very understanding man. try and get it into his head there's nothing to fret about.
Oh, we'll try.
Keep him well covered meantime. The more he sweats, the better. And a tablespoon of this every 4 hours. It'll help bring the fever down. Bad luck this happening on your leave, Jim.
Just so long as he gets better.
Do what I said. I'll look in tomorrow.
Well run, every one of you. Hezekiah, I think our new recruit will do us credit.
Aye, he'll keep his place all right.
And after the night, we shall hope to be able to put up a new tablet.
Well, I only hope I don't do anything to prevent it. Now then, where's this bell of mine?
Ah, yes, we'd better let you get the feel of it.
Here you are, my lord.
Better adjust them tuckings for his lordship.
Do you let him raise her first? Unless you'd like me to raise her for you. Not on your life. It's a poor ringer that can't raise his own bell.
Splendid, Lord Peter.
Right, boys. Now listen, all on you. You comes here sharp at the 11:15, see? And you rings as usual for service. After Vicar have finished his sermon, then you comes up here again, quiet and decent-like, and takes your places. Then when they're singing their hymn, I ring the 9 tailors and the half-minute passing stroke for old years, see? Then you waits for the clock to strike. And when her's finished striking, I says, go. And mind as you're ready to go.
That's the 9 tailors they're ringing.
The death of the old year.
Or the death of a man.
Right, boys? Go.
Trouble's gone, trouble's gone.
Go, Kate, treble, Bob.
Come in. Ah, Mr. Bunter, is everything all right?
Yes, madam. I have the beer and the 9 tankers prepared. May I take this opportunity of wishing you a very happy and prosperous new year?
Thank you, Mr. Bunter, and I wish you the same. Well, they seem to have made a good start.
Yes, indeed. A very cheerful sound.
To tell you the truth, I've never really cared for bell music. It's too clamorous for me. I should never dare to say so to my husband. He's quite passionate about it.
Well, I shall respect your confidence, madam.
I'm sure you will, Mr. Bunter. Now, let me fetch my coat and I'll take you over to the church.
There's really no need, you know. It's very cold outside. I can easily find my own way.
Oh, it's no trouble. I'm going anyway. Mr. Venables always expects me to put in an appearance. Not too exhausted.
Oh, good Lord, no. No, just feeling a little bit thirsty. This goes down a treat. How does it sound outside?
Oh, beautiful. Surprising how soft and mellow it sounds in here. But, of course, there's another floor between us and the bell chamber.
Yes. Look, I say, no shirking or anything like that, but do you think he'd mind frightfully if I sort of pop downstairs for a tick and listen to it outside?
Oh, no, of course not. He loves it. Don't be too long.
I'll take over now, Mary. You go get some sleep. When's he due for his next medicine?
4 o'clock.
The bells. They got to stop ringing them bells.
Daddy will take it easy.
They'd go down to the church. They got to stop ringing them bells. They got to stop ringing.
Jim,
What is it, gal?
money, Jim, look. I never seen so much money in my life.
Stand next time.
Magnificent! You've done it, lads, and it couldn't have been better done.
It weren't bad. We done it.
Well done, Wally. You can call yourself a real ringer now. And you, Lord Peter, we owe you a great debt of gratitude, every one of us.
Perhaps now I can get on and get your old car repaired, my lord.
Yeah, I say, come on, take at least 10 minutes rest, old chap.
We shall be able to put up that new tablet now, lads. What? Yes, but first things first. And I think breakfast.
Delicious thought.
It's all waiting for us at the rectory. Come along, then. Sausages, bacon, hot coffee.
Is that Batty Thomas you're looking for, Vicar? You'll find him up the loft.
No, do I? I appear to have mislaid my keys to the belfry. Oh, well, never mind. Jack, you've got the other set.
Aye, Vicar.
Are you all ready?
Speaking personally, I've never felt readier.
Agnes, my dear.
A message from the manor house, Theodore. It's Lady Thorpe. Sir Henry is anxious that she should receive the sacrament.
You're too late.
I gather as much from Mrs. Gates.
It was very sudden. Not 10 minutes here. She died peacefully.
God rest her soul. She was a good woman.
Aye, you can say that again. Tell it's kept poor Henry going all these years, not my medicine. She and young Hilary.
How is he?
In shock, I'm afraid. Oh, I've given him a strong sedative. He ought to sleep for a few hours.
And Hilary?
Very composed. Too composed by half. It'll hit her later, no doubt.
It does, as you say, my lord, afford a desolate aspect.
You should see it when the floods are out, her lad. All this higher ground, you see, is cross-diked and drained, and the drain water is fed into the River Whale.
Well, Mr. Venables did try to explain. The waters meet at different levels, does it not?
Hence the need for this. Van Laden's sluice.
You see, if it wasn't for those, the river being tidal, the drain water would run back and flood the whole valley area.
That accounts for his concern. I must admit that...
Six tailors for the death of a woman.
Lady Thorpe, rest her soul.
As you say. So time we were moving on, Bunter.
I think this is one new year your lordship is not likely to forget.
For more reasons than one, old lad.
We appear to have some company, my lord.
Oh, good egg. Let's wave our hats. I'm awful scattering sunshine as we pass.
Morning. Happy New Year to you.
Excuse me for stopping you, sir. Am I right for Fenchurch St. Paul?
You're quite right. Straight on till you come to the bridge. Cross over, turn left until you reach the signpost.
About how far, sir?
About 5 miles. You've got a cold walk, I'm afraid.
Yes, sir. Not a very nice part of the country.
No, indeed, no. Like a fag?
Yes, please, sir.
Here we are, look. Have a handful.
Thank you very much.
Here we are. You, don't belong to these parts?
No, sir.
Looking for work?
Yes, sir.
Labourer?
No, sir. Motor mechanic.
I see. Well, good luck to you.
Thank you. Good day to you, sir.
Hello.
Motor mechanic, my lord.
Possibly, Bunter, but not recently, I think. Hard labour's more about the size of it.
The daffs are fantastic this year. I've got practically a carload to take down to the church.
Hilary, my dear.
Yes?
Come here a minute. It was a lovely day. I don't want to cast a blight on the Easter proceedings.
Well, then don't.
But there is something that I must say. Now, if I should go west this time,
Oh, darling.
we must face the facts.
Is that why you...
Why what?
Nothing.
Please. Please.
It's 3 months since Mummy was buried. There's still no headstone on the grave, and I... Oh, Daddy.
Let's be sensible now. When I do go, I'm afraid I'm going to leave you pretty badly off.
Don't talk such rot. Please. You're not going west, and anyway, even if you did.
Well, there'll be enough to send you to Oxford. Girls don't seem to cost much there.
And I'm bound to get a scholarship anyway. Miss Bowler says. Then when I've taken my degree, I'm going to be a writer, so there's really
What are you going to write? Poetry?
No. Bestsellers. Not just bosh, but stuff like The Constant Nymph. Miss Bowler says I have heaps of talent.
Well, I'm delighted to hear it. Nevertheless, we must face the
Golly,
facts.
look at the time. I'll miss my date if I don't hurry. I'll be back in time for tea. Just try and be good while I'm gone.
I'll try.
Bye, Daddy.
Hello, Mrs. Venables. Oh, Hilary, dear, they're glorious. Do thank your father very much.
Yes, of course. Is Jack Godfrey here?
Yes, he's up in the tower greasing the bells.
Super. He said he would be. I'm going up to have a look.
Do mind those dreadful stairs.
Hello, Mr. Godfrey.
Hello, Miss Hilary.
Can I pop up and have a look? I've never seen any of them really close to.
All right. Wait a minute. Now, up you come. That's it. Steady on. There we are.
This is Taylor Paul.
That's right, miss.
Isn't she a monster?
Aye, pretty fair. She's done her bit in her time.
Mr. Venables told me there was an inscription. Oh, here it is. 9 tailors make a man in Christ. Is death at end in Adam yet began? 1614. I find that rather a complicated sentiment, but I don't suppose it was to them. Which are the others?
Well, Gowdy, Sabath, John, Jericho, Jubilee, and Dimity. And this here is Batty Thomas, what Abbot Thomas once put up. Yeah, no, don't come no closer, miss. No, she's an unlucky belle. She ever fancies, and I wouldn't care to risk it.
What do you mean?
Well, you see, she's my own belle. I rung her close on 15 year. She've no quarrel with me, but she have killed 2 men in her time. She come down on the head of one of Cromwell's soldiers. And then there was a lad in old Rector's time, he tried to raise her, and he got himself hanged in the rope. So, if you don't mind, miss, I don't fare to take no chances with Batty Thomas.
All right, Mr. Godfrey. If she's a killer, she's all yours. Mr. Godfrey,
What is it, Miss Henry?
I found something funny. Come and see.
Now, hold hard a minute, I'm right with you.
I thought to see the fairies in the fields, but I saw only the elephants with their black backs.
Eh?
I found this on the floor. It's absolutely loony. The elves danced all around.
While I heard voices calling clearly. I tried to see, but no blind eye of mortal was permitted to spy them. 5, 4.
Do you think it could be Potty Peak?
What's this here Erebus mean?
I think it's kind of an old name for hell.
Well, Potty ain't no scholar. I mean, he wouldn't know names like that. And he couldn't write so pretty neither. But that's mad enough for him.
Jolly weird, isn't it?
Yeah, that is.
Quite creepy.
Hilary! Hilary, dear, come quickly.
Sir Henry Thorpe, Bunter. He's dead. After a long illness at the Manor House, Fenchurch St. Paul.
I am sorry, my lord. Will you be attending the funeral?
Well, I deputized for my brother at his wedding, but that was 20 years ago. I haven't seen the fellow since. To turn up now at his funeral, not quite the thing, I think, Bunter.
It's always the same, Wally. When a man wants to be buried with his wife, you can't do a decent job. If I'd had my way, I'd have dug a new grave alongside. This way doesn't give a chap a chance for measuring and shaping up. So there it is. Was Henry's last wish, so Vicar said.
Oh, my good Lord.
What is he, Wally?
I know. But it didn't ought to be there, Mr. Go-to-Bed. Something horrid.
Yeah. You're right, boy. It didn't ought to.
You rang, my lord?
I certainly did, Bunter. Pack our bags and cancel all my engagements. We're going to an inquest.
Certainly, my lord. May I inquire where?
Well, Fenchurch St. Paul, of course. Where else?
Wally, I says, that's a sleeve. And what's more, there's an arm inside it. So, we gets to shuffling away again, going very careful. And after a while, we sees a leg. So, I tells him to get rid of the shovel and use his hands. He says he doesn't like to. But I told him not to be a fool, 'cause he can always wash his hands when he's done. So, we clears away, very careful. And then at last we sees him plain.
What precisely did you see?
A man's corpus.
Go on.
Well, he were wearing an ordinary suit of clothes. And it looked to me as though he'd been a lying there a goodish while.
Did you notice anything else, Harry?
Yes. He ain't got no hands. And his face, well, it's my belief his own mother would...
But you can't say for certain you recognize the deceased.
If I did, I should be telling a lie. But it's a fact, he ain't unlike the chap that come to me New Year's Day looking for a job. Said he was a motor mechanic out of work. I give him a trial and he done his work well. For 3 days.
Where was he living during this time?
My house. And all of a sudden, off he goes in the middle of the night. Never seen him no more.
What day was that?
Same day as they buried her ladyship, Saturday, 4th of January.
What was the name of this man?
Called himself Stephen Driver.
Is there anything more you can tell us about this man?
I don't know as there is, sir.
Sir, don't you remember? What about all them funny questions you told me he asked you?
Oh, why? I was clean forgetting. Yeah. He said he hadn't ever been to this here village before, but he knew a friend as had. And this friend told him to ask after a Mr. Thomas and a Mr. Paul. Said Mr. Thomas wasn't quite right in the head and that Mr. Paul was a tailor or something like that. Well, come to me straight away, see? I said, your friend's been having a game with you. They ain't men's names, they're bells in the church. Batty Thomas, Tailor Paul. After that, he asked a sight of questions. Did the bells have writing on them and so on? I said, well, some of them did, but if he wanted to know more, he'd better ask the vicar.
And Stephen Driver asked you about the bells, Mr. Venables?
On no occasion.
Did you meet him?
I think I saw him once at the forge. I was delivering the parish magazine, but I didn't speak to him.
I see. Now, your own keys of the church, they are always in your possession?
Well, yes.
You seem not quite certain.
It's merely that I'm very absent-minded. I do mislay things from time to time.
Have you ever mislaid the keys?
Yes. I did at New Year. I remember very clearly. We had just rung 15,840 Kent treble bob majors, 9 hours ringing, and I realized it when I wanted to lock up the belfry. But as Jack Godfrey had the other set, I didn't really bother.
But you found them, your own keys, subsequently?
Well, I did not, but Emily did. She's our maid. They were on the shelf in our scullery.
The deceased was wearing a suit of navy blue serge. It was of poor quality and much deteriorated from its burial in the earth. On the other hand, sir, it wasn't old.
Could you say where it was purchased?
Yes, sir. Max Brothers of London. They're a big firm of cheap outfitters. I've been on to them, but they weren't much help. They sell hundreds of suits like this one. Same goes for the shirt and tie.
Anything else?
Deceased was also wearing a pair of working men's boots, almost new. And this may strike you as curious. The vest and the underpants, well, they were very worn and darned, but the labels were still on. They were manufactured in France.
You examined the body of the deceased and made an autopsy. What were your findings, Dr. Baines?
I should judge the subject to be an Englishman between 45 and 50. He appears to have been well-nourished, healthy. The extent of decomposition suggests that the body had been lying in a grave between 3 and 4 months. The internal organs and soft tissue generally were fairly well preserved. I could discover no signs of any external injury except upon the head, arms, wrists and ankles. The face appeared to have been battered in with some blunt instrument, with the result that the whole of the anterior, that is the front portion of the skull, had been reduced to splinters. I could form no exact estimate of the number of blows, but they must have been numerous and heavy. On opening the abdomen...
One moment, Doctor. I take it that we may assume the deceased died in consequence of these blows?
No. No, I do not think they were the cause of death.
Why do you say that, Doctor?
Because, to the best of my knowledge and belief, all the blows were inflicted after death. The hands also were removed after death, apparently with a short, heavy knife, probably a jackknife.
But why on earth should anybody inflict such severe injuries on a dead body?
That is outside my province. I'm not a specialist in lunacy.
Quite so, quite so. Well, in your opinion, Doctor, what was the cause of death?
I do not know. On opening the abdomen, the stomach showed no signs of any disease or injury by poison. I did, however, remove certain organs, and these I have sent on to Sir James Lubbock for expert examination. I hope to receive his report in about 10 days' time.
You spoke of injuries to the arms and ankles.
The skin around the ankles seemed to be very much broken and abraded, as if they had been tightly bound with a cord or rope. The arms bore similar injuries above the elbows. These injuries were undoubtedly inflicted before death.
You are suggesting that someone tied up the deceased and then by some means or other brought about his death?
He was certainly tied up before death. I won't go further than that.
Thank you very much, Dr. Baines. Well, under the circumstances, Superintendent Bloodle, I think we will adjourn this inquest for a fortnight. That will give you a chance to continue with your investigations, and by then we shall have received Sir James Lubbock's report. Does that suit you?
Yes, thank you.
Oh, one further point. Is there any reason to delay the burial of this unfortunate man?
None, sir. The sooner the better.
A beautiful case. Quite charming. I wouldn't have missed it for the world. Uncommonly good of you to write and tell me about it.
It was uncommonly foolish of me not to know of your reputation as a detective, Lord Peter. I only heard about it after you had left us, quite by chance. And when I mentioned your name to the superintendent...
And you don't mind me sticking my long nose into this?
Oh, quite the contrary, my lord. I know all about you from Chief Inspector Parker.
Cheers.
Good health.
Well, let's sit down.
Thank you.
Now, my lord, Tell me all about this fellow you met on the road on New Year's Day.
Oh, he's the same chappie that Ezra Wilderspin took on, there's no doubt about it.
Could that be the chap?
Yes, it could, quite easily.
Nobby Cranton.
Cranton? What, do you mean the Wilbraham Emeralds?
Mm-hmm. He came out of prison at the end of summer, just done 4 years for receiving stolen goods. Failed to report in September, and we haven't seen him since.
Taking a recuperative holiday abroad, perhaps. France can be most pleasant in September.
At the moment, my lord, that is mere speculation.
As you say, Superintendent.
And what we now know is that by December, friend Cranton was back here in Fenchurch St. Paul.
Came looking for the emeralds, do you suppose?
Why not? They've never been discovered.
Loud cheers. I'm all in favor of a treasure hunt.
So you think that the body was that of Cranton?
Could be, Mr. Venables.
And if it was, and if somebody thought it worthwhile to kill him, smash him up, bury him, and cut off his hands where he keeps his fingerprints, there is somebody in this village who knows something.
Dear me. What a very distressing thought.